We as a church decided we wanted to get involved in orphan ministry. Turns out Camille Hadlock, our missionary in Uganda, was already working with Team Missions, and she had always asked us, hey, would you be willing to start something up in Koboko, which is right up on the border of South Sudan and Congo. So we decided as a staff of the church, yeah, we want to do this. Fast forward, we've got a team now going over to Koboko. We're on a bus. About halfway through the bus ride, which is, 14 hours or so, the bus driver gets on the microphone and he says something, and people start clapping. And I have, what is going on here? And the fellow next to me, sitting across the aisle, stands up and smiles, and he's waving to people, and then he sits back down again. Turns out this guy is the governor of the state of Koboko. He would be like the governor of Oregon. We start having great conversation. 2 days later, we are now spending time with not just the governor. We're introduced to what they call a DPC. He's the District Police Commissioner. He is the top cop in Uganda, Koboko. Not just him. There's also a woman there who is referred to as the RDC. She is the Resident District Commissioner. Turns out she's the wife of the Attorney General for the country. We also get a chance to meet a member of Parliament who represents that district, who reports directly to the president. That's how it starts. So if you don't think this is one of those, divine moments that God orchestrates, I've miscommunicated. From there, we started our own rescue unit. It was only 2 or 3 months after that time that the director of Teen Missions, Bob Bland, asked us if we would be willing to take another 5 rescue units. River Valley wanted to start with a group of 200 kids. We had just been asked if we'd take another 1,000 kids. Took this back to the board, took it back to Mark, talked about it, decided, yeah, this is something God has ordained. So after we took on the 5 rescue units, and now we've got 1,000 kids to try and figure out how to deal with over there, the director of Teen Missions, Bob Bland, asked us if we would be willing also to take a high school that he had in one of our districts with 600 kids. When we got the school, it was in unbelievable condition. And for the last 2 or 3 years, we've been able to raise some funds to rebuild that school. We've had donors that have put in a medical clinic there, a library, a computer lab, a science lab. We built dormitories for kids. We built new houses for teachers who are there that stay there on campus. We built one building that houses 500 of the kids. That school has absolutely been transformed, and I think is really considered to be one of the top 1 or 2% schools in the entire country. We win the hearts of these kids, we take care of them physically, we equip them with an education, and then we really get a chance to send them into the world and say, blessings on you guys, go forth and do likewise, you know what I mean? We send over $15 per month per student that we have sponsored, and that kid is now guaranteed that he can go to school. We pay his fees, we pay for a uniform, we get him supplies, and that takes about half of what we send over there. About a quarter of what we send over goes to take care of the facilitators who really manage these rescue units. They have about 200 kids that they care for. And the rest of the funds from every dollar that gets sent over there goes to things like welfare, emergency food, meds, things like that. We found out that caring for orphans and widows is a whole lot more than educating kids. If you've got kids that are hungry trying to go to school, if you've got kids that are sick, if you've got kids that don't have clothing, if you've got young girls that have their monthly cycles and don't have sanitary feminine products, they're not going to go to school. And it became very clear, we're going to have to do some things outside of just the sponsorship dollars. Now, what might they be? We have a vision clinic that we put together in Koboko. Free eyeglasses, free vision care. We're now doing cataract surgeries for free for our caregivers and kids. We've started a new school in Koboko that's now going to have 160 kids starting in February. We've started programs like COPE. It stands for Concentrating on Practical Education. It's where we want to provide people a kind of an education that's going to help them take care of themselves once they get out of our program. And so we have a tailoring school that we've graduated, I think 60 or 80 people, and they start their own businesses. We have something called CAME. It's Care and Medical Education, where we send out teams monthly now to care for our rescue units and the kids. And we probably see 1,000 people every month where we give out meds and things like that. We started something called EPIC. It stands for Early Pregnancy is Contagious. We started the program where kids in our program were now sharing about the difficulties of young pregnancies in young girls that are, 12, 13, 14 years old. A radio ministry that we have right now that reaches hundreds of thousands of people in South Sudan, Congo, and throughout Uganda. All of those things are really funded by gifts that come in outside of the sponsorship program. I can't tell you the number of stories that we must have that we would love to be able to share with everybody. One story that you have to hear, we sent out our facilitators to this one little village, and they came across a little kid who was standing out in the yard, kind of in his, ragtag clothes, and he had grabbed a bunch of bricks and was building a structure around him. And he'd been using mud to make the bricks kind of stack together. And our kids went over, what's going on? And he said, when the rains come, my house is wet, the roof leaks, there's no place to sleep, it's just mud on the floor. And he said, I've decided I'm going to build a new house for my family. Now this kid's 6, 7 years old, and he's out putting this thing together. We sent them resources, finances that next month, and ended up building a new house for that kid and his family. That's one of 1,000 stories that if we had the time, we could tell you. You have an impact on these kids. You have an impact on the families. You have an impact on the villages over there. So this is the part I want to share with you. He gives his name as Sandy Silverstini. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in social work and social administration from the university there. I'm now working on finishing up my master's program in public health monitoring and evaluation, School of Public Health in Uganda. I'm getting my PhD in medical research and viral research at the School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicines. This is the kind of thing that happens that a lot of times we don't hear about. The successes of kids and the impact that they're going to have on their own country. And they tie it back directly to somebody cared enough to take me on as an orphan kid, fed me, clothed me, helped me get through hard times of being an orphan, got me educated, and this is my way of giving it back. I can't think of another church in our country, honestly, that has been given the opportunity to do the things that we've got a chance to do. Little old Grants Pass has got a school of 450 high school students, a primary school of 180 kids, 1,000 orphans that we care for. And you all who donate part of your resources and sponsor kids with a $15 a month check, you're just not taking care of one orphan kid over there. You're having an impact on families and villages that you can't even imagine.